Okay, so I told you guys that eventually, hopefully by Friday, that's the plan. Waiting on it still in the mail. I should be getting the Topo T16 made by unknown developer. Okay, so he is based out of Italy, as far as I know. And I've shown in a previous video, which you can go back and watch, the actual device, how much it costs, etc., etc. And really good developer, really kind. This is his editor. It's a web-based app that is used for editing. He is really constantly working on this, so it's fun to know that it's available for anyone who purchases it to be able to go in and make their edits. So you'll see you have 4 banks, which you can go through. You have the Midi monitor, and these download and upload pertain to your getting the latest software or whatever you decide to set on your custom stuff. So see scales when you can see it's flashing if you look at the screen. Right now it's not in demo mode and there's nothing connected because I don't have the device yet. But this little panel here pertains to the editing, so you can see what you can change. Here's your 16 keys, your scale, the root note, octave, XY, the channel, the velocity curve, which is huge, the aftertouch curve, and then he added this recently as the koala mode. And if you slide your mouse across that, you can see koala mode is only available when using the chromatic scale. It turns the octave slider into a page slider. So that's the octave slider, and you can adjust the pages. All right. This thing is loaded with stuff, like literally. So you'll have to use this to do editing in the device. However, the device, out of the box will work just fine. And you'll have to learn to read the manual to understand how it works. So I'm just showing you the website. This is how you get to the editor. I would suggest to the developer to add this to his actual page. For instance, I'll show you this real quick. Unknown devices. So when you go to the page, he does tell you there's a web-based, but there's no indication, or at least I don't see it, as to where that web base is. Now, the only reason I know is because I asked him personally where it was, and this is why I'm showing it to you guys so you'll know. So you can see I have 2 custom scales that you can set. Now, you need the device in here for this to work, but I'm just showing it to you. Here's your CC mapping that you can do. ABCD, you have your XY, and then the ZM. So these have to do with the triggers, I believe, on the actual device. If I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong on that, but this is in default mode currently, but there are other modes. You can enable the Midi TRS type, which is A or B, right? USB to TRS pass through. So I'm not sure how that works. I'd have to think about that. And this is funny down here. At first I looked, I was like, what in the world is this? It's Bluetooth, right? Probably should put the words there, but it's kind of funny you put this tooth on there. So anyway, there is Bluetooth enabled in it. However, because you need the USB passes the power through it as well as MIDI, you'll need to put some type of power bank on it to be able to use the Bluetooth. So that's the only negative I would say, is if he had included in a battery, then it would have changed the game. But there's no battery on it, so you have to do that yourself. And batteries can be quite expensive to add into a device like this. He is a single developer as far as I know. There's no team of people, and he has to get everything shipped out. And he lives in a remote area. We're in Italy. So that can be challenging, but yet I love the fact that he's dedicated to it and it's a cool device. So there's a keyboard calibration. I would imagine that you want to do that when you first get your device. Sorry, I gotta mute this phone so it doesn't do that again. So you can see the 4 tabs here pertain to your editor. Now let's look at this next one. This is your firmware update. You'll want to do this. You'll see all that he added koala mode, and this little drop down menu has the dates, and you can revert back to older versions if you have issues, which is nice. So you connect the device. You'll need to start the device in update mode, as you can see here. So you'll hold down the mode button. The mode button is on the right of the device, the little thing up there, while you're plugging it in to your desktop or your iPad or iPhone. Because this is a web-based app, you can go and use it on each one. Now, he does say in here, he tells you once it's you want to connect the device, and then this pop-up will appear, and then click connect, and then you'll update the firmware. But you need to, it's not on here, but I know for a fact that it works best in Chrome. So you'll have to have the Chrome thing on there to be able to, on your device. You guys should know what Chrome is. It's a search engine, but it works better with that way. At least that's what I was told. Okay, check out the manual. So here's what I mean when I say the buttons at the top: play mode, slider mode, the slider, and then the keyboard breakout. So this is good introduction. You should read it. Now here's where you see that the web editor breaks down, and here's what I was talking about. The editor uses web Midi to talk with your device, so you'll need to use Chrome or Chrome-based browsers. There is a web Midi extension for Firefox, but it's not reliable enough. So he's telling you that up in advance. This manual should be on his website. I'm going to mention it to him because I think he should add this so people can read all this and get this information before they buy it. So I'll talk to him today or something to get that done. All right, banks. There's 4 banks. Each have their own setting. You can navigate the banks by using the slider button. You notice here it says press the slider button until this lights here turn up pink. And then you can use the slider to go through each bank. Okay. So let's talk about the keyboard mode. On the slider, you'll see there's the pitch bend, the octave switch, the mod wheel, and the bank select. So obviously you can't use them all at the same time. You only have so many that you'll be able to use. So you'll have to navigate to that, which one you're going to use. It says when in keyboard mode that the T16 will output a MIDI note on and off. Both the velocity and aftertouch can be configured, which we looked at. The layout is fully customizable, so that's good to know. And you'll notice right here it says the keyboard LEDs highlight each note, root note rather, for the selected scale. So if you're in a scale, you're going to see the root note starts there and then starts each time it in that scale, depending on what scale you're in. There's a strum feature. I thought this was cool because I was like, this is something that you don't typically would see. But for chords, this is kind of nice. So here's the chords that they offer, the 4. And that pertains to these 4 right here. These are the notes. Okay. And these are this. So it looks like, based on what I'm reading, that the key grid is used to select the note of the chord that you're going to play. So let's say this is C. I'm just using it as an example. And then you hit this one, then you're hitting a C major, right? because it's major, minor, augmented, diminish. But it says here, hold on, and the touch strip is used as a virtual strings. So it's like you're strumming up, right, or down. The bottom four are used for the chords. If a scale other than chromatic is selected, the default chords are already set based on the scale grades. So that just means that if you pick major, it's going to play a major chord if you hold down the C, right? So on and so forth. C through B. So think of it that way. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. Okay, joystick. So here's your XY mode that you can use. This is pretty cool if you're trying to control different CC messages and you need to be able to use that virtual cursor to go across. It says right here that pushing on more than one key will move the cursor to the average positions of the pressed keys. So that's interesting. You have 4 faders. Here's your 4. So A, B, C, D, right? They go from 0 to 127. It looks like the touch strip sets the slew rate of the fader. So I don't fully understand slew rates. I'm not that in depth, but I could say each one of these probably is like 32 on the volume rate. If you do the math, you divide 127 by 4. And then I'm assuming that this is slew rate affects that too. So it's pretty cool. All right, so here's some quick settings. There are quick settings in there. It looks like there's 3 pages, right? Each page has 4 different settings on it. Here's your 4 settings that run across the top. And then this is the values, the bottom 3. So for instance, on your brightness, right, you have a range from 1 to 8. Enable TRS is on and off. TRS type is pretty much an A or B. And then the MIDI Bluetooth, same thing, would be on or off. Channels. So you got 12 channels, right? And then scales, again, 12 scales. And then octaves, you have 8. So when you see the mouse I'm moving, I'm showing you like 8, right? The root note, C to B. So again, C to B. Okay. So to get to those pages, if I'm not mistaken, use the sliders to navigate. But here's the key. Press. I thought this would let me highlight for some reason. Pressing both the slider and the mode buttons. So if you're wondering what I mean by that, slider button, mode button. So you press those 2 buttons and it will access this menu. Okay. And then you can pick which page you're going to be on. And so then it says the grids light up fast. The sequence of the quick settings will open. There are 3 pages, each with their own 4 settings. You're going to use the slider to navigate between the pages. So use the slider. I don't have it in my possession to show you, but it's 1, 2, 3, right? So I'm assuming you slide up, and then that's how you access those pages. All right, and here's what's on page 3. Velocity curve, the aftertouch curve. So you could set it within the device, which is nice. Or you could use the web app, to adjust it. Now, this is great because if you were solely relying on the web app and you had no access to the internet or something, that means you could never change anything. But this is allowing you to adjust it in the device. So this is nice, really nice for these quick settings. Okay, and then you have reset, backup, and update. Again, here you're holding the slider mode while plugging the device in. That's how you can reset it, backup and restore. You can do all that within the web editor. And then you have the update to update the firmware of the device, right? I showed you that. It's right here. So you go there, connect. So we just went through the whole manual as it is at this current moment today. And this should pretty much get you going. It says right here that you don't need to install or do anything to start using it with your computer. Simply power it via the USB-C port, and it will appear in your computer's device list as topo T16 or topo T16. And then you check the your DAW's manual for connecting Midi devices. Most of them just show up. In Ableton, it's in your settings, you'll see it. Logic has it, it's so on and so forth. Or if you're using it with the iPad or Koala. So Koala mode is going to be really nice. He told me that it's, he has a video, so check out his video where he's using it. But he's definitely refining it more. This is a new device coming out. And remember, he's a single dev doing this. This is not a corporation or something building this. These are 3D printed. And then the buttons have like magnets in it under it, but they're like your keyboard thing with a magnet on there to help you get the aftertouch and all the extra stuff. And I showed you guys the website, so you can go visit. Just type in topo.unwn.dev and you can visit the website and check out the editor for yourself, the custom scales, the CC mapping, the global settings, the downloading the latest firmware, and then the manual, which he put all together on there. So really cool. Looking forward to trying this. This is what it looks like, the black version. He has other colors. If you talk to him, you can ask him about the other colors. I want to say he had white, pink, purple, and green. I think he said green. Yeah, I think he said green. So, and he can make other cases too. Like he can make, let's say you want to switch it out to a different case or whatever. As far as I know, he told me it's pretty easy to switch. So you could ask him if you wanted to buy an extra case. And you can see it's USB-C. There's your TRS out. Cool. So check his website out. There you go. Watch these videos. See if it's something that maybe you're interested in. I definitely was interested in it as soon as I saw what it does. I've always looked for something portable to go with the iPhone. I'll show you guys all that once I have mine in person. They're not crazy expensive for somebody who's doing this on their own. But yeah, it's a cool device. All right. That's it for this video, and I'm out.